Hey guys, it's Kelsey and back with another scrapbooking process video, and for this layout I am starting on bachelorette type things. I'm skipping a couple pictures which I'm going to have to go back and do before I get to wedding stuff. But while I was working with this collection, I really wanted to scrapbook my bachelorette stuff because it was in the fall, and these vineyard pictures especially, I'm wearing this orange shirt, so I knew I had to use this orange cardstock for these layouts. So right away I'm pulling in that orange, and I really wanted to pull in the more autumnal floral that's in this collection with the acorns and the leaves. So this is kind of the color scheme I'm going to be pulling from. Basically the colors that are in this floral is what I'm trying to focus on. So the orange definitely, but I'm pulling in the pinks and the yellows as well. So that's kind of what you already see to the left there. I pretty much put everything else from my kit that had aqua. I don't even know what other colors are in there other than the aqua, but the florals I went ahead and put away unless it was this acorn and leaf pattern. So that's what I have to the left there to work with. I know I want to try and get another tag on here, another frame, and definitely those hexagon stickers I'm really trying to make sure I use, and maybe even those corduroy hearts because I love those. So that's kind of everything I've pulled out to the left there. I really don't know what I'm going to do yet. I have three 4x4s here, but one of them is really zoomed out, and I thought it would be cool to use a frame around that photo. So I went ahead and put back to that frame in that one smaller photo and cut off the excess, and I really like that. Kind of three 4x4s can kind of make your page. It just takes up so much real estate. It's kind of hard to design around sometimes, but now it kind of looks like I just have two 4x4s and then this little embellishment piece. And so I really like that I get to use this smaller photo, but it's more in a way I can design around and make something cool with it. So I'm thinking I'm going to stack these other two 4x4s on top of each other and mat them together like that. I had realized I had a pink frame, and so I was thinking I didn't know if I wanted to switch this white frame out for a pink frame, but I end up really liking how the white looks. The floral has a white background, so I really think I need some white elements on this orange pattern to keep that freshness running throughout. So I'm going to keep the black and white frame I already had around that photos, but I wanted to try out this pink one for a second. And then I just know I want to pull in some yellow elements. So I was thinking maybe I'll pull in this yellow tag. I really like this pink ticket that's on this pocket card. So I'm going to go ahead and just fussy cut the ticket because I know I will use the ticket portion of this card, but I won't use the card as is. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then there's nice big chunks of plain solid pink on that pocket card that I will use on another page. So I'm going to set that aside. But I definitely want to just get this little ticket piece. I think that will look nice coming out from this little tag frame cluster. So I'm just trying to make sure this area has each of the colors from the floral. So I have the white frame, I'm thinking about the yellow tag, I have the pink label. So I'm just trying to compose all of this. I'm thinking the tag kind of looks awkward the way I have it, so I'm thinking maybe I'll not put a tag there. But I decided to go ahead and mat my photos before I kind of went down that route because I kind of got stuck. So I'm going to go ahead and mat the photos on a scrap of this wood grain from my last page. And again, I'm going to gut a huge portion of that. It's still early in the month and I love this wood grain, so I'm going to try and make it stretch as much as possible this month. So I'm going to save a chunk of that from behind those photos. But I'm going to do kind of a thicker mat with the wood grain. I really want you to be able to see it. This is a vineyard and it's outside, and so I really want to accentuate those natural, more rustic elements in this collection. But I did kind of think that the photos kind of blended into the darkness of that wood grain. So I wanted to do a really thin mat on some white before I matted it on the wood grain. And I think that makes a really big difference. I really like how that ends up looking. So I'm going to trim this up really quick and then you'll see I just think it looks nicer on that wood grain. And then just for fun, I decided to use my corner rounder punch on the wood grain. I just thought it made it kind of interesting. The layers on this one seem like they're going to be more simple because, again, I'm trying not to pull in a whole bunch of paper this early in the month. So I'm going to try and kind of keep this where my paper layers are and just use embellishment from here to finish the page. I just don't want to cut into anything else. So I think having the rounded corners helps add a little bit more interest because of that. I decided to maybe move a tag to the opposite corner of the photos instead of behind my frame. And I actually have a tag in the same pattern as the frame. So I thought that was perfect to be framing my kind of photo area with that one pattern. And then there's white up there as well, which I really like. So I'm thinking for sure I'm going to have that tag in this frame be the main parts of my clusters. And now I just need to finish it out. I have a yellow like gingham branding strip, and I definitely want yellow in both of those areas, so I'm thinking I'll use the yellow branding strip along the right side running up to that tag, and that kind of adds my yellow over there. And then I'm thinking I'll use those pink corduroy hearts in each area to add my pink element. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I really want to use this word grateful. I didn't really have a whole, like a big bachelorette party. I kind of just did bachelorette things with my family. And because of the boys, Becca's kids, we really couldn't do something together. So we decided just to kind of do a couple separate things. So for this event, just me and my sister went to a local vineyard for some like wine tasting and stuff while my mom babysat. And then I went to Helen with my mom over a weekend for like a bachelorette weekend with her. So it was a lot of fun to do it that way, but that's kind of the story behind this, which I'll see in my journaling. This is going to be 2 pages. So this is the first page, and then the next page you will see will be the companion page to this one. So I'm going to try and pull in a lot of the same colors and papers you're seeing on here for that one so that they really look like they go together. But you will notice the story on this page, kind of 2 things happened today. We had already planned to go to this vineyard and kind of hang out and do that. But I did have to work this morning, and we ended up having to euthanize one of our family cats. He came in and he had a urinary blockage, which is where they have bladder stones that end up getting stuck and they can't urinate. So that's an emergency situation where we need to immediately unblock them and remove the stones. But after doing his blood work before going into surgery, we realized that he was in kidney failure, pretty severe kidney failure. And the x-ray shows he had a lot of bladder stones, but kidney stones as well, which we could not remove at my facility. So basically he wasn't stable enough to go to surgery, so we ended up having to euthanize him, and he I think was 13. We rescued him from our horse barn that my sister and I used to ride at when he was a baby kitten. So he had a nice long life with us, but I didn't want to just gloss over that because that was something that happened today, and it kind of did. Me and my sister, by the end, we were like, should we cancel and not go? But then we were kind of like, you know what? I think we need to go now more than we did before. So we still ended up going, but it kind of cast this kind of somber pall on the event. But it ended up being really like healing for both of us to be able to go and just kind of deal with it. But I kind of want this page to be more about that and to talk about Russell. And because there are 2 pages, the next page I'll focus more on the winery and us having fun. But we did a little photo shoot out in the vineyard, and my sister was my little photo director. So she kind of told me what to do, and she took these pictures of me. And I really love these pictures, even though they were kind of more somber. So I wanted to make sure I had a page just for these, and then one with me and my sister and the location for the next page. But you'll see that when I get to the journaling. I just kind of wanted to mention that before we get there, because these are bachelorette vineyard pictures, yet my title in my journaling is about our cat, so I didn't want that to be confusing kind of when we got to that point. But I really do like how my clusters are coming together. I'm just trying to keep all of these different colors and patterns in both areas so it looks balanced. I was going to thread this tag with my black and white twine, but then I realized like I used the tissue paper from the Felicity Jane packaging on the last layout, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to use. I kind of want something bolder. I have this plain colored cardstock, so I have this like need where I feel like I need to fill it up with extra things because the background is a plain color and not pattern. And for whatever reason, I was like, I want to thread the tag with a Felicity Jane ribbon instead of twine. So that's what I did. I love how like juicy and bold that looks with that Felicity Jane ribbon. So I think I did that on the first page as well, but I decided that instead. And now I'm still playing around with my little clustered areas. I have that yellow branding strip you saw I trimmed into 2 pieces, so I still have it running up the right side of my photos, but I also have it branching out horizontally underneath the frame, and that gives a nice grounding area for that word to sit. So I think that worked out really well. I also had a branding strip of the autumnal floral. I don't know if you can call it a floral if it's not flowers, but it's leaves and acorns, so I'm going to keep calling it a floral. But I decided to run that up the right side of the page. That way the pattern for the left is kind of mimicked over there as well. So I like that. I was really excited about getting 2 branding strips used up on one page. And now I'm just looking through some ephemera bits. I thought about maybe using these little leaves. Thought about using the yellow pumpkin. But I think I end up just doing like that yellow floral down there with the pink ticket I fussy cut, I think is what I end up doing down there. And I really wanted to get both of these corduroy hearts used up on here. But once I kind of laid it out, I decided just to do one of the hearts on here because I do have another page to do. And I'm trying to think during this process the things that I'm going to be saving to put on the other page so that they coordinate really, really well. So if this was the only page for the winery, I definitely would have gotten both of those hearts used up on here. But because I know there's a second page, I want to save one of those hearts to have on the companion page as another element that ties them together. So that's why I decided to only have the little heart at the top there. I will remove the larger heart that's down by the frame, and you'll see that on the next layout. But that's kind of how I decided to do it. And then even this ticket here is running behind this yellow floral I added at the bottom. I trimmed the edge of the ticket that was covered in case I wanted to use that in a cluster on the following page as well. So any little thing I can save from this page to put on that one is kind of what I'm trying to do. But I like the composition of this. I like that it's this L design that I love so much. I'm already thinking my title will be in the upper left-hand corner, and I'll have some journaling coming down below that. So I'm not too worried about this big open space to the left because I know that's going to end up going there. I am using my Tombow Mono Multi Glue to glue down the corduroy heart because that stuff is sticky. And anything non-paper, I really like using that glue because it is not going to move. But before I glue down all these clusters, I still want to gut. These cardstocks are really nice that Felicity Jane sends, and they are double-sided. So the back side of the orange is the pink, and I definitely want some pink cardstock to go on some other layouts, as well as any leftover orange I might want to use on the companion page. So I'm going through this annoying process of having to gut this kind of irregular shape, but I'm trying to save everything I can because I really end up using those little bits farther down the line, especially when I have a smaller kit to work with like Felicity Jane. So I got that done. I will mat this in my black cardstock like I like to do, just for stability and so there's not a big hole in the page. And then I'll glue down my layers. I know I still want to add a couple more things. I'm trying to be really good about stamping this month. So I definitely want to get some stamps on here. And the little hexagon chipboard sheets, I definitely want to get some of those on there as my finishing touch. I'm really going to try to use those on every page because they give you so many, and I kind of feel like even if I use them on every single page this month, I'm still going to have leftovers. But yeah, I might, if I have a lot of those hexagon shapes left at the end of the month, like the last layout I do, or I'm gonna have to do something that kind of uses all of them. I think it could be a really cool design look. But for now, I'm just gonna use a couple at a time throughout the page as a finishing touch. I think they look really cool. Especially on like outdoorsy type layouts, because hexagons read very honeybee to me, because they just remind me of the honeycomb. So I think using them like this on an outdoor page just kind of accentuates that, even though there's not like a B on the page or anything, or that's not the theme. I think it just goes, you know. But I think I'm looking, oh, I'm still trying to glue everything down, it looks like. I decided because I did have the bold black ribbon at the top there, it kind of looked a little unbalanced that there wasn't something like that in my other cluster. So I did just cut another strip of that Felicity Jane black ribbon, and I'm adding that as another horizontal layer in my cluster at the bottom. And that just helps my issue with balancing it out. Now there's black in both areas that are framing my photo, so it kind of makes more sense. I did not use the alphabet that came in this collection on the first layout. So I really want to make myself use it on this one, but I'm a little like not annoyed because I need a gray alphabet. I have a lot of black and white alphabets. I needed a gray alphabet, so I'm happy they sent me one. But there's no gray in this collection. There's no gray in this collection, and they sent me a gray alphabet. And I'm pulling in these pops of black, and it just annoys me that it's not black. So, I don't know how much of this alphabet I'm going to be using this month because I just really like how this collection looks with either black or white, or gold, like I did on the first page. So we'll see what I end up doing with this alphabet sheet. But I definitely wanted to get it on some of the pages this month because I really do like using their alphas with their collection. I'm a little confused about this one because I don't like using a gray alpha when I don't have gray in my layers. But anyways, that's my own problem. I decided to just title this Russell. That was the name of our cat. And I will draw in some lines with my ruler and pen and do my journaling right underneath that. So I think that helps fill out that space a little bit. I'm not going to journal in that whole gap, but I think a little bit will be just enough to kind of fill that in design-wise. It's bothering me right now that alpha is so out of left field that I'm trying to find some of the extra pieces on the alpha sheet to pull in somewhere so that it's not the only gray element on here and it doesn't look so out of place. So I tried the ampersand. That looks kind of weird. There's a couple asterisks on the sticker sheet, so I end up adding 2 of the asterisks down in the bottom right hand corner, so it's on the opposite side of the page from the title. So there's something else in that alphabet on the page. So that was the only way I could really like tell myself it was okay that the title was so different from the rest of the page. It's still a neutral. It's really not a big deal. I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. I was just really hoping it was black. But before I do my journaling, I'm going to go in with those hexagon chipboard sheet. I don't even know what you call these. Embellishment things? What did Felicity Jane call them? They called them chipboard stickers. Okay, well, that's kind of obvious. And I definitely want to get some stamping down, like I said, before I do the journaling. I'm kind of saving the journaling for last because I know I'm going to have to talk about Russell. And so I'm trying to get all this creative stuff out of the way before I have to figure out how to say that. Again, I am pulling in my amazing We Are Memory Keepers stamping platform that Ronnie sent me. I love this thing. I said this on the last layout. I'm probably going to say it every layout this month, but this is a game changer for stamping, and I love it so much. So it just makes stamping so much easier. I'm so much more confident and sure, and when I do need to double stamp, I know it's still going to look crisp because that platform keeps the stamp exactly where I need it to go. So I'm just doing 2 stamps. The one I just said memories because I feel like that's an important sentiment for this page in particular with Russell. And the top seasons change. It is going into the fall season, which is my favorite season of all year, and changing seasons too because we did lose Russell, so it's kind of just a change in our family structure a little bit. So I kind of felt like both of those stamps had a double meaning that went along with the story that I thought was important. But those are the only 2 that I do, and now I'm going to go in and draw my lines for my journaling. So I wanted to get all the details in there without it getting too heavy. So I just said today we lost our cat Russell to kidney failure. He had kidney stones and bladder stones and ultimately became blocked. Beck and I had already planned to go to a local vineyard, and even though it became a somber event, we both needed it and spent the time mourning and healing. So my sister and I did end up having a really good time, but it took a while for us to kind of feel okay. So that's that's pretty much what my journaling is. It was nice. I've never been to this vineyard that is it's really close to where we live, and it was like you have to drive through a neighborhood to get to there. But once you got to there, like, it looked like you were secluded in the North Georgia mountains. You couldn't see any buildings. It was just trees and hills and vineyards, and they had live music, and I guess they rotate on food trucks that come, and they had a food truck there when we were there that had these like really nice gourmet burgers and fries, and it was just really, really nice. So we had a good time. We hung out for pretty much the rest of the day there until they closed, which they closed, I think, at like 7, because it's a gated neighborhood and they lock the gate at 7. So the winery has to close at 7 so people can get out through the gate. So that was kind of odd, but it was really cool. We haven't been back since. I need to go back because we did have a lot of fun. I did not draw enough journaling, so I'm having to go back and add some more lines. But that's my final thing on this one. So after I finish the journaling, you'll see the close-ups, and then the next page you'll see will be the companion page to this one. So you can still see up to the left there, I kind of compiled leftovers from this page I definitely want to get used up. I'm going to continue this color scheme and go with this burnt orange and autumnal floral paper. But these are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.